All right, quick recap. Week 2. What this is 6 days. Just wrapped up day 9. Tomorrow will be day 10. And tomorrow is pre-CDL testing. So basically it's the actual CDL test with outside instructors for the what's it called? Not the NCAB, the pre-trip inspection, which is very, very, very important. Not getting your CDLs without that. And the most important thing with the pre-trip inspection is the air brake test. If you fail the air brake test at any capacity, automatic fail. So got the pre-trip test, then you got your maneuvers. It's 4 maneuvers, right? You pulling forward, and then it's like a rectangular box. You have to put your front bumper in that box. So you're going forward and you're stopping to get that bumper directly in that box. You can't be outside of it. You can't fall short of it. You got to be right there. That's maneuver number 1. Once you complete that, you set your brakes, which means you pull your red and yellow emergency and parking brake, put your vehicle in neutral or your transmission neutral, however you want to say it. And then once you feel like you're in that box, you tug the horn. That alerts the instructor to let you know that you're done. Now, before I move forward with the other 3 maneuvers, when it comes to maneuvers, there's some rules, right? You approach on a cone, that's 2 points. You hit a cone, I think that's 3 points. Or maybe that's 5 points. You hit a cone, that's 5 points. No, you hit a cone, that's 3 points. And if you mess up the maneuver in any way where you can't finish it, that's automatic 5 points. Can't get more than 8 points combined with all 4 maneuvers. And then you also get 2 get out and looks. So depending on the maneuver, whatever the maneuver is, you got 2 get out and looks. So what our trainer is doing, they're saving our 2 get out and looks for the last maneuver, which is the serpentine backing maneuver, which is the hardest maneuver, more than likely for most people, which, you know what I mean? For me too. So you save your 2 get out and looks for that, for your setup and for the very end, and I'll get to that. And then you also have 2 free pull-ups, where if like you backing up and you don't like what you're doing, you can pull up for free twice. After those 2 free pull-ups, every pull-up after that, 1 point, which is cool. If you ain't got no points and you out of pull-ups and you need to pull up, man, take the couple points. You know what I mean? To make sure you ain't hitting no cones or approaching on cones and getting double or more points. You know what I mean? So a few times I had 7 points going into the last maneuver and I had to be perfect. And I'll end up, being able to do that. But, you want to try not to get no points so you can have some wiggle room towards the end. So going back to what I was saying, 4 maneuvers, right? Pull forward, straight forward, and stop your front bumper in this rectangular box, right? Second maneuver is pulling all the way through. So you pulled into that front box. Now you're pulling all the way through past that box, right? Stopping. Well, the instructor will stop you, and then they'll let you know you can send it back. So all you do is, it's called straight line backing. So all you're doing is backing up straight. Now, you may need to correct your wheel a little bit, but what you'll learn is the little subtle corrections, like quarter turns. You know what I mean? No full turns, no whipping it and nothing like that. Just a slight turn here, slight turn there, get back straight. You know what I mean? How you lined up between your tractor and your trailer. So you back all the way up through that until you pass those last cones. Then that's maneuver 2. You set your brakes, you hit the horn. You set your brakes and you set it in neutral, then you hit your horn, letting your instructor know you're done. That's maneuver number 2. Now the last 2 maneuvers is a forward serpentine and a backward serpentine. So all you doing for the forward serpentine is that you're pulling straight, right? And then you're bending outside of the box. So you're going to turn this way, and then you want to cut back up and then line back up with your cone to help you for your last maneuver. Now, once you do that and you get your back trailer past that last cone, then you set your brakes, put it in neutral, sound your horn to let the instructor know you're done, right? Then they'll be like, cool, boom. For the last maneuver, you got to do the same thing, but backwards. So you got to come here, boom, and then you got to angle back into the box and then wiggle your way back in. And then as you backing it up, the same thing you did in the beginning, like getting the front bumper in the box in a little square, you got to get your back bumper in the square. Now, this is where we use our two get out and looks. So the first get out and look is when you backing up, right? And then you angling it, right? So once you angling in it, you making sure you lined up with the box. So once you start swinging your trailer, you know it's going to walk in there. So you'll get out and look for that. And it's some detailed stuff. I'll probably do it in another video that our trainer Diesel been teaching us that it's finally starting to click. So you looking to see where you angled at to make sure you lined up evenly between your two cones. And then you'll look to see if your trailer is lined up, like how far it is, to whether do you got a straight back before you bend it, or are you further enough to bend it right now? And then how you see that, if you go to the other side of your trailer, it'll be a cone. That first cone, you'll see how is it lined up with your tractor. And it's a sweet spot where you want it to be. But if it's lined up there, then you can swing it right now. If it's not lined up and you need to go a little further, then you just keep the wheel straight on your 45 and you back it down to however far you think you need to based off the cone you seen. And then that's where you swing it in. And then so all it is a hard turn one way to get the trailer to, you know what I mean, to turn, to bend it in there. And then you take a hard turn the other way to get your tractor back in front of your trailer. Now, once you do that, you should be lined up straight in the box. If not, it's some subtle adjustments you got to make. But regardless of the fact of that, once you get lined up, it should be easy, just straight back in. But you got to remember, you're not straight backing all the way through the course again. You're just straight backing until you can get that front bumper in the box. This is where we use our second get out and look. You get it as close as you can. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a sunny day, you can look at the shadow and that'll kind of tell you, because it's hard to see. Like your mirrors, 90%, 99% of the time they tell you the truth, but you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to see because you want to get your mud flap in that end of the bumper in the thing. It can't be outside of it. It can't fall short. It got to be right squared in there. So you'll back it up as far as you can. You don't want to go too far. It's cool to fall short because you're going to get out and look at it. So once you get out and look, and you see like, all right, I need to go a little bit more, or you might be in there. So if you in there, you go back in the trailer, you know what I mean? And then you sound the horn. But when you get out the trailer, you set your brakes, put it to neutral, and then you don't hit your horn. You get out and look. That's your second get out and look you have. If you get out and look for a third time, it's an automatic fail. So you got to be conscientious of what you're doing. You got to be focused. So once you get out and look at it, and it's where it needs to be, then you go back and sound the horn. Now, if it needs to go back a little further, then this is what he showed us. Like we'll line, like he was saying, like your whole torso, your body is about a foot, maybe 1.5 feet. So if you line up directly to the back of your trailer like this, you'll see, all right, am I in there? If I go a foot, no, okay, then you'll just step another foot. So you'll be like, all right, 2 feet to get me in there. So when you get back to your trailer where your shoulder is, where you sit in the trailer and your shoulder's right here, you just look at a mark behind you before you get in the truck, and you know what I mean? And you just eyeball it as you backing up. All right, let me get there. That's about 2 feet. Boom, set it. You can't get out and look no more. So you got to just trust your measurements. Boom, set your brakes, put it in neutral, sound the horn. Boom, you done with that maneuver. That's the maneuverability. I know that was a lot, but just had to get it out. So the maneuverability, the 4 maneuvers, let me turn this way. Damn, lighting is in the way. The four maneuver abilities, the four maneuvers, the pre-trip inspection, and then you got the road test where you go on the road, you drive, they see if you checking your mirrors, if you reading your signs, you making the right turns. Like, you know what I mean? You got to go wild with your turns. You got to realize you're not driving a car. You're not driving a tractor. You're driving a trailer. So just the little nuances and things they looking for Are you giving yourself enough? You putting your blinker on, checking your mirrors, and then getting over smoothly once it's safe. Watching your speed. See, like, because we're permit drivers, we don't have our CDL yet. The speed limit, you have to go 2 to 3 miles below the speed limit. If you go a mile over the speed limit, boom, you speeding. Obviously, no reckless stuff. When you get to a railroad, you want to, they got this thing where they say, look both ways before, during, and after, which that means, so as you're approaching an intersection or a railroad, you want to look both ways as you're approaching it. You want to look both ways as you're going through it. And you want to look both ways as you're getting through it. Make sure nothing is not going to hit your trailer, just being safe with it. So just things like that. Like when you get with a trainer and you drive, they'll tell you the type of stuff you need to look for, to be as safe as possible, because Roehls is probably one of the safest companies, if not the safest company in the industry. They're known for their safety and one of the top carriers in the industry. So with all that being said, it's a great company to come to get your CDL. They'll pay for it. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a catch. Like, they're not just going to pay for all this stuff, get you a hotel, pay for your trainer, put you in a truck, pay a trainer to train you and all that stuff. That stuff costs thousands of dollars. So the thing is, you have to get through school, number one. If you start and you don't get through it, then they're going to send you a bill for $7,000. If you get through the process, get your CDLs, and you quit before you fulfill your contract, they're going to send you a bill for $1,000. So all you got to do is come here, get through the program, get your CDLs, and then you owe them 120,000 miles of solo miles. So once you get through that, which, you'll probably make about $65,000, $75,000 within that time span of working for Roehls, then you can go and do whatever you want to do. You just got to fulfill that contract. But if you get fired, you hit some shit, you can't get through school, you leave school early, you don't get your CDL, you get it after, you leave before, like anything and not following through on that, you're going to owe them $7,000. So if you decide you want to do that, you got to be serious. You got to see it through. Got to see it through, my boy. Got to see it through. So, but like I said, it's a good program. Obviously, you're going to be away from your family for, probably about 2 months max, you know what I mean? In between the first 3 to 4 weeks, you might get a break to go home for 3 to 4 or 5 days. And then once you get to phase 2 to, getting with a trainer, you're going to be in a row with them. And you're going to get your home time, but they got to get their home time too. So you might be away from home while they getting their home time. And you get a little home time, a couple days, and you back on the road. You know what I mean? And then also with Roehls, like they have different things where if you're like national, you'll be out for 11 to 14 days off 3. If you're regional, you'll be out, 7 to 9 days off 2. They also have where you want to be home more. You can be out for 14, home for 7, or you can be out for 7, home for 7. Whatever works for your schedule, very flexible. And then they also are versatile with their fleets. Like they have drive-in, which is like the regular 40-foot or 53-foot trailers you see. That's what the drive-in is. The reefer is like the same thing, but it has like a refrigerator system on it. And then you got flatbeds, where they putting stuff on your truck and you got to secure it and things like that. And flatbed pay the most. And a flatbed driver can pull reefer or pull drive-in. A drive-in and a reefer driver cannot pull flatbed. So flatbed pays more. You're more versatile. You can do more. So that's why I went with flatbed. My dad does flatbed. My dad does everything, but he was saying it's a good thing to start with flatbed because you specialize. So, yeah, that's it. Tomorrow's pre-test. So like I said, we had a great day today. I guess I'll recap that real quick. So yesterday was kind of rough, man. You know what I mean? A little frustrating. Getting close to test day. Still, got to memorize some stuff with the pre-trip. And then also, like, it's hard to memorize shit when you tired. Then you trying to go to bed. Do I study? You know what I mean? It's just all this stuff, you know what I mean? Me, I work out. I get up early. I pray. I be up at like 4:30 a.m. Sometimes as early as 3:30 a.m. Just trying to pour into myself and get stuff done for me before I even get to work and got to focus on that. And it's just, keeping in touch with my family, my wife, You know what I mean? My sister, my mom, my dad, just like, I ain't got no time for downtime on the internet, watching videos, watching sports, watching movie. I ain't got time for none of that, which is cool. Like, I'm locked in. I came here for a reason. The goal is the goal. So I'm not complaining or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, like, it's an adjustment being away from your family. Like, I was joking with my roommate, G, like, you know what I mean? Like, you away from everything you used to, you comfortable with. You're not around your loved ones, your family. You're not in the routine you used to. Like, you basically is here with a bunch of random people, you know what I mean, that you never knew or met before. So it's kind of tough, but you can't you can't ride the emotional roller coaster. Like, you're gonna have great days, you're gonna have some days not so good. It's a it's a lot of information you got to learn. You know what I mean? Even though you get 3 weeks before you take your CDL, they treat it like you got 2 weeks because they want you to be prepared for pre-CDL week 2, towards the end of week 2. And also, they evaluate. If they feel like somebody's just not getting it, they'll send you home, and that's it. So you got to be. So it's a learning curve, and sometimes that can be frustrated, but you can't. You know what I mean? If you need a break, a mental break, whatever, man, go to sleep. Tomorrow's a new day. That's the mindset you got to have. And then also, like, sometimes people try to blame stuff on the instructor. Like, obviously, all these people know what they're doing. They've been driving for a long time. We're training for a while. That's why they're instructors. Now, some are better than others. Don't get me wrong. Some people break things down better. But at the end of the day, it's our job to learn what they're teaching us, no matter what. Now, if stuff get bad or out of hand or whatever, you can always ask for another instructor as long as it's a valid reason. You know what I mean? They'll concede to that. But at the end of the day, man, it's up to you to learn the information, no matter who the instructor is. Because no matter who the instructor is, you got to retain the information and apply it and get the concept and the nuances. You know what I mean? So I feel like today everything really started. Like, things been clicking and rolling, but today things have been, you know what I mean, with the maneuvers. I'm even trying to help other people and teaching them, you know what I mean, and trying to break things down further than even our instructor does. Because he be frustrated with this one guy, man. Oh, man, I'm be live. Bless his heart, though, man. Like, he trying, you know what I mean, get his CDLs, take care of his wife and stuff, but he need a little bit more time. Like I said, this is a accelerated process, so. But, we still got another week, man. I hope I do good tomorrow. I'm pretty sure he in there studying and applying himself, but he just, he be in his head a lot. So you can't be that type, got to get out your head, be positive, you know what I mean? And you're going to grasp it. You got to be patient with yourself. But all in all, it was a good day today. Like I said, we was getting the back and maneuvers down packed. We did mostly that. We went over a lot of the pre-trip. Haven't done a lot of road time, but as long as you know how to drive and you understand, like, the concept of your tractor trailer and taking wide turns and being a good decision maker, watching your mirrors, reading your signs, you know what I mean, thinking ahead, and just a calm person behind the wheel and poised, you know what I mean, the road test is driving. Make sure you stopping completely at stop signs. You know what I mean, you increasing your following distance so you're not tailgating nobody, you know what I mean, just being safe, you know what I mean, is the most important thing. And confident behind that wheel. So tomorrow's pre-trip, you know what I mean? That's pretty much all I got, man. The lunch sucks. I tell you that right now, the lunch sucks. For me, I eat healthy, so obviously most things are gonna suck if I'm not making it. My wife, my sister, my mom are not making it, or I'm not going to a restaurant that specializes in that. Because, they got the chicken tenders, burgers, chicken sandwich, fish sandwiches with fries. The only thing they got is salads, and the salads suck. It's just some thrown around lettuce, a couple little dog tomatoes, and some onions, and hey, have at it. And some ranch or Caesar dressing if you get a Caesar salad. But I already knew that, though. But if you eat a different type of way, they got pizza, and they got a staffelah, because alhamdulillah, we don't eat no pork, we don't eat no swine. It's forbidden, but they got pork chop sandwich. And one of the brothers that's in our group, he felt like he was rushed, so he just put the pork chop sandwich for the whole week. So he eating pork chop sandwich the whole week. He get this pork chop sandwich the first day. It's literally a bone-in pork chop slapped between 2 burger buns. So, like I said, the lunch ain't good, bro. So bring a little bread with you. The only they take care of lunch and breakfast at the hotel, and the hotel breakfast ain't much either. But like I said, this is work. This is getting your CDL. This is logging in. It's not a vacation. It's not 5-star resort. None of that. So we not expecting that no way. Like, this is the grind. We here. We gonna get it done. I say bring some money, get some fruit, some healthy stuff from Walmart, or I'm sure there's restaurants, bars around. You know what I mean? If you eat that type of garbage, but going on the road, you want to maintain some type of level of healthiness. I ain't saying you got to eat vegan and plant-based like I do and all that stuff, but you should. But yeah, so it's been about 20 minutes, man. I won't go too long on this video, man, but I ain't, I've been really trying to lock in on this week because it's crunch time. But yeah, this Hive here, Hive Jordan Stout. Shout out to Pops, man. Stout Trucking, Stout Transportation. That's the legacy. We here with Rail Transport. You know what I mean? The big company, you know what I mean? I'm trying to learn from a top dog, learn their ins and outs so I can take that and apply it to me and my dad's trucking company. Take the legacy further, take it further, you know what I mean, for me and mine. So if CDL and trucking is for you, man, like I said, Rail, get your CDLs. Trucking company is great. And if you already got your CDLs, Rail is a great company. If you went to a school, already got your CDLs, you work for other companies, and you just feel like you need better training, better opportunity, more versatility, home with your family more competitive pay, whatever you looking for, like Rail is a company definitely look into as a trucker, no matter, where you trying to slide in at. So end of the day, it's Hive here, man. Week 2 of Get Your CDL program with Rail, man. And you know what I mean? We coming up strong, man. So I'll let y'all know how pre-testing go tomorrow. I'll probably tap in, do another video for the weekend. And next week, it's crunch time, man. We got to get ready for the actual test. And then once we get past that, we have load securement for a couple of days to learn how to secure loads for the flatbeds. And then we get sent back home to get our CDLs in our home state, spend some time with our family and things like that. And then it's on to phase 2, which is getting assigned a trainer, getting on that road. And like they say in pilot class, getting your wings. Well, in trucking, getting your wheels. So Hive here, Stout Trucking, we out.